between the developed markets and Indian markets could bring in a lot of flows into India. So we just took a few slides and we're just trying to explain, can this sustain and what has exactly has happened. So if you look at the first chart, which is on your left, and I've marked it with a round red circle, that is the Fed balance sheet expansion. Now, Fed is the central bank for US, and whenever there is a crisis, what they start to do is they expand their balance sheet and buy a lot of bonds, debts, not only government but also corporate bonds, and infuse a lot of currency or money into the markets. And when there's so much supply of money, the yields start to suppress. So US 10-year, which is kind of risk-free for US and more so for the world also, because it's the reserve currency. 1.5% was the yield at the start of the year, and now it's down to 0.8%. So anybody who is borrowing to or lending to, for that matter, to the US government will get only 0.88% every year for the next 10 years. So that is the suppression of the rate that has happened in US. Whereas if you compare India, in India, if you lend to the government, which is kind of risk-free rate in India for 10 years, it is still closer to 5.8 to 5.9%. So there is a large spread, and even if you adjust for currency vagaries and you hedge everything, any US investor would love to come to India and put that money purely from a spread perspective as of now. So that has been a driver of flows into India. That's the first part. And that's not the story only in US, across the developed markets. Now, there are different reports which suggest that 30 or $35 trillion of debt in the developed markets is already turned negative yield. So if you lend money, 100 rupees, you will get 99.5. You will not earn any interest over there. In India, still you have a nominal interest rate which is much higher, and you could generate positive returns. So what happens when the cost of money goes down is explained terms. Getting a risk-free return of 1.5% in US, your expectation of returns might be 3-4% from equities. Now, when the threshold goes down to 0.8%, your expectation from equity will also come down. And for a marginal increase in return, the money will flock to emerging markets, to India and other places. That happens, and that's purely from an investment perspective. Even from the perspective of businesses, when interest rates fall, what happens is a lot of projects become viable. So a lot of infra projects which were not viable at 8-9% interest rate, if the interest rates get suppressed because of foreign flows or RBI keeps its interest rate down, those infra projects can be now feasible, and that could change a lot of things in the economy. Similarly, consumption patterns could also change. As Subbu explained, the EMIs fall, and people could afford within the same EMI a larger house, a bigger car. So that also helps because of fall of interest rates. Coming to the next slide, please. Yeah, so as I said, because of a lot of flows, economy recovering, we had seen a sharp dip to kind of 15-16 times of P multiple for the index, Sensex index, and then it shot back to more than 30 times. Now, one anomaly over here is that this is based on FY21 current year earnings, and in current year, Q1 was washout. So it is more of a 3/4 of earnings, and that is why optically it looks a little elevated. Even if I adjust for that, still it will be on the expensive side, but not at 33, 34 as what the chart is suggesting. So that we need to adjust that anomaly of no earnings in the Q1 which happened this year. So kindly, if you adjust to that, the index will still be expensive, but it will not be prohibitively expensive. So flows plus economic recovery is showing that kind of your P multiples. Now, what will change this P multiple is either market comes down or the earnings go up. Next slide, please. Yeah, so from an earnings perspective, this table of consensus earning expectations also gives us a certain view that what is the market pricing in, right? Now, if you look at the background of light blue background, that is your Sensex, and these lines that are coming down is expectation of earnings by the sell side of BSE Sensex. So every year they start on a positive note and the earnings continue to fall down. This is happening for last 4 or 5 years, maybe more. If you look at FY21, which is the blue line, third line from the left, right, that has seen a sharp cut. So 21 saw a sharp cut, 20 also saw a sharp cut. Lockdown has started in March. So people have adjusted for COVID decline in FY21. It's also adjusted in FY22. Look at FY23, the adjustment is there, but still marginally. From a 21 base, which is closer to 1400 rupees earnings, now the consensus expects that the earnings will move to 24 to 2500 rupees. Some part of which is fair because there is a base effect which will play on. Even the real GDP for FY22 is expected to grow in double digits. So large part of that is fair. But again, there is a lot of uncertainties, few of which Subbu talked about, that there could be resurgence in COVID. There could be other things which I'll talk about in the risk slide. So we have to be careful about how we go from here on. From our perspective, we have been cautious. We have been carefully analyzing our companies, and then we are projecting our numbers. It could be very similar to what consensus is expecting, but on a different set of companies. So large part of this consensus change that you are seeing is driven by banks, but that would not be the case in our portfolio. Next slide, please. Yeah, so over the last 1.5 to 2 years, a lot of questions have been asked about value style, Quantum being focused on value, our key products are focused on value. We are known as value managers. So we have been analyzing things and how whether value makes a comeback or no. A lot of media, a lot of debates on that. So if you look at, I have just pasted a chart. This is a comparison between MSCI Global Value Index and MSCI Global Growth Index. So the orange dotted line that you see is the growth index, and the white line that you see is a value index. So from November onwards, post the vaccine announcement, you have clearly seen value started to do well. In India, it was a bit early also. When cyclical recovery started, the value started to do well, which was not the case over the last 2 years. So what happened in last 2 years, which has changed over last 3 months? So over the last 2 years, the economic growth, as alluded by Subbu in one of his slides, the growth fall in GDP growth was started much before COVID in India. In a falling growth environment, there were few companies who started to do well because they were gaining market share. They were good businesses and they gained market share. And there was a lot of liquidity coming in, and everybody was chasing those growing companies, making the valuations very, very prohibitive. Rest of the companies, because the growth difference was high, nobody was looking at those companies, and those were the companies which a value manager would look at, and an expectation of a kind of catalyst playing out and the margin of safety getting covered, and you get your returns. That was not happening over the last 2 years because there was no cyclical recovery, and the catalyst that we were looking out for companies were not playing out. Over the last 3 months, the cyclical recovery is much broad-based. If you look at it, a lot of sectors like autos have started to do well. Financials have surprised on the positive side. Metals, utilities, all of these have started from a numbers and recovery perspective. It started to do well. In a broad-based economic recovery, what happens is that a lot of companies start to do well. And now the growth differential between a growth company and a value company compresses. And value is available cheap. So everybody would question, why would I buy a 40 PE company when the growth rate of a 15 PE company is similar? So the 15 PE company starts to improve in performance. And we believe that trend has started to play out. Next slide, please. Yeah, so I'll just talk about our quantum long-term equity value product as well. How are we positioned in this environment, and what are we thinking, and how the portfolio looks right now? Next slide, please. So from a portfolio positioning perspective, we clearly believe that there is an economic recovery that is happening, and our portfolio positioning is towards that, is geared towards that. Monsoon, just the previous slide, please. Just not finished the previous slide. So the monsoons have been good, and that has been for 2 years consecutively. And even this year's monsoon was good. This means reservoirs are full, and Rabi season, which is the winter cropping season, is expected to be good. And in our portfolio, we have some agri-facing stocks, rural economy, which benefit from rural economy, and we believe that those stocks will continue to do well. Those have done well in this rather bad environment. Those companies have done well over the last 6-7 months, and we believe for the next foreseeable time, maybe 6 months, 1 year, we believe those companies will continue to do well. We'll see good earnings growth. Now, last 2 years, what has changed from a portfolio perspective is that we were not able to buy high quality names because of prohibitive valuations. In March, when the markets fell because of COVID, we have able to add some of those names, some of good quality companies at reasonable valuations we would buy. And that has changed the structure of the portfolio. We have a higher weight in NBFC, consumer discretionary, and IT. IT being beneficiary of global digitization wave post the COVID. We also did a stress test on the portfolio, and portfolio companies look really strong from a balance sheet perspective. When March, April, when things were falling really badly and there was lockdown, we tested whether companies' balance sheets are strong enough to take care of the cost when there is zero revenues for next 6 months. And almost all the companies passed their test. Few companies which did not have a strong parentage. So we are not, and when required, parents can infuse capital into those companies. So from a stress test perspective, the portfolio is very, very robust and the balance sheets are strong for the companies. We have close to 9.5% cash. And in case of a correction, because of some of the risks playing out, that cash will be used to add good names in the correction. Next slide, please. So the percent of
I think Saurabh is having some connection issues. Subbu, I request you to please take this slide.
Sure. So what Saurabh was saying was that what should the investors do? They should have a neutral way to equities. It's not necessary to book profits and get out of the equity market because it has gone up so much. And you need to diversify across styles. And beware that in small cap has done well, but small cap was always some challenges, and therefore be careful when it comes to small cap investing. The economic growth normalizing has been faster than anticipated. The low domestic interest rates driven by RBI can be a strong catalyst in sustaining this kind of growth. As we said, both the actions by RBI and the possible flow of money from foreigners could keep the yields in India low, and that could drive consumption, and therefore the economic growth could be better. That is a possibility as of now. We are not yet fully sure that will happen, but we are working on our models on the assumption that if this kind of money were to come, what would our buy and sell limits look like on every stock which we own, and therefore we will reposition the portfolio once we are very clear that this kind of money would come and keep the interest rates low. Risk, as we shared, would be the COVID cases, resurgence in that, the elevated valuations, and any possible mishaps, from policy actions. The government, of course, has been taking a lot of steps towards reforming certain sectors. But in case something were to happen, like it happened in the past, like say a demonetization or any other policy mishaps, that can impact the returns. So these are some of the points which the investors can keep in mind as they continue to remain invested in the equities. You want to go to the next slide?
Subbu, I think Saurabh has rejoined us. Saurabh?
Yeah. Subbu, you want to continue? Should
No,
I
yeah, you take
cover
it.
this slide?
Yeah, take it.
Okay. Apologies for a bad internet connection. Thanks, Subbu, for taking time for that slide that I was discussing and got interrupted in between. So we have always said, as Subbu had said in the previous slide, that a mix of style is extremely important for the investors. Now we have seen over last 2 years, 18 and 19, value did not do well, and I have explained the reasons. These are a kind of setup of macros or setup of markets. Certain happens that the style is not favorable for a certain period of time. Similarly, if you see last 6 months, most of the growth managers have lagged the benchmark and the value managers, right? So how does an investor gets immune to these kind of style changes that happens in the market? The easy option is create a basket of product which is not specific value, in the sense that you have a basket of value products plus a growth product. And if you want to size it, also some cap products. So we have just given a comparison of one of our products, Quantum Equity Fund of Funds, which is a basket or a mix of products into mid caps, large caps, and different styles. And QLTVF is our value product. If you combine the though, an ideal ratio would be 20% in the long-term value product and 80% in the FOF basket. You can see your returns are much more steady, right? So to get that steady return, because you are investing for long-term 15, 20 years, and you don't want to be have a setback for if 2-3 years the style does not work, the best idea has to have a combination. So for 1 year perspective, you see a fund of funds give you 6.7% return, but QLTF outperformed by 7% return. A mix could have given you 6.8%. But 3 years return, if you look at fund of funds gave you 4.16, QLTF gave you 3. So QLTF is a lower return product from a 3-year perspective. A combination would have given you 3.84. So if you are investing, which you should from an equity investment perspective, a combination of value, which should be your core investment, and build a basket of other styles around it. A typical mix should be 20% and 80%, 20% on value, 80% on the periphery. That should be a good basket to achieve your financial goals. Next slide, please. Yeah, so this gives you a return of how if you had invested 10,000 rupees, how that money would look like. Very similar to the previous slide, and we can move to the next slide, please. Yeah, so this is a since inception chart for quantum long-term equity value product. The blue line and BSE 200 and Sensex. So a lag for last 2 years because value going out of favor, but things seems to be improving from here on. For last 3 months, we have seen quite a bit of improvement in performance. Next slide, please. So broadly, that covers up our presentation. Ghazal, you want to take over for question and answers?
Thank you, Saurabh. Thank you, Subbu, for sharing your vision on what the future holds for equity markets. Hope you're ready to take some questions now because we have loads of them coming in. So I'll start with you, Saurabh. Is Quantum AMC buying large cap stocks at the Nifty PE of 35?
So clearly, I said that from an index perspective, index looks expensive. One reason is that anomaly of one quarter earnings missing, and that's why you are seeing a 35p on Nifty or 32 times on Sensex. Just for that, it will be lower, but it still be on the expensive side. The only point we would like to make here is that from a broader market perspective, you still see opportunities, and I highlighted a few sectors where we have portfolio positioned towards. We see that those companies are still fairly valued. We have not seen initiation of new kind of stock that came into the portfolio last 1-2 months. But within the invested portfolio, we see reasonably good opportunity upside over the next 2 years. So we believe that broader market still gives you opportunities. Yeah, index looks expensive.
Sure. Subbu, next question for you. Raghuram Rajan has recently commented that massive liquidity being pumped in by major economies is unsustainable and may result in sharp economic reactions. How do you think it would affect equity markets in India and investments broadly?
So, see, too much of liquidity has got its own problems. For instance, if you look at it can translate into inflation at the street level. it can translate into asset bubbles because all that money ultimately has to go into some assets. So it can drive equity prices up, or it can drive bond prices up. But the question is, are they sustainable? So there are enough historical reasons to suggest that in the long term, it's quite possible that the interest rates may move up for a variety of reasons, in which case, definitely all the financial assets will take a hit. So if interest rates were to move up for some reason, you will find equities taking hit and bonds taking a hit, etc. But based on current facts, in the sense the response to the pandemic, immediate response seems to be that keep enough liquidity available so that businesses can sustain. So if that trend, it may continue for some time, and probably the kind of mishaps which Mr. Rajan is saying may not happen, but that risk always remains. And that is one of the reasons why at Quantum we have always been saying, and Chirag has been writing, is that always have some exposure to gold, which is moving away from an financial assets which is only backed by currency. Ensure you have 10 to 15% of your assets in gold. So my suggestion is, we don't know when this kind of liquidity will get squeezed out, but that risk remains. So therefore, ensure that you are adequately protected by being diversified across assets, and also ensuring that you have some amount of gold in your portfolio.
Thanks, Subbu. Coming back to you, Saurabh. Does value investing increase portfolio turnover compared to investing in high quality companies?
No, not really. If you look at from a quantum value product to quantum long-term value fund, if you look at that, our turnover ratios are pretty less. So turn ratios of 20%. That means when we hold the company, it's in the portfolio for average 5 years. So that's not true, and our churn ratios would be one of the lower in the industry. That's from the product perspective. From the style perspective, it's clearly not the case. Yes, valuations are important, but what happens is that if you've invested in a company at reasonable valuations, and because the intrinsic value of that company will change every year based upon earnings, you can have in the portfolio companies which can stay for long period of time, until and unless they really shoot up in valuations, and where you want to trim. Right, ultimate is that you don't want to own over expensive companies, and you have to take that discipline and risk management. But I've not seen that value managers having higher turnovers than growth managers. I've seen it contrary, rather.
Sure. Thanks, Saurabh. Subbu, what is your analysis of our capital markets if the dollar collapses?
See, if the dollar collapses, you will have implications across board on a variety of currencies. So I'm not a currency expert to tell as to what will happen to the rupee. I can only say if dollar is collapsing, other currencies will appreciate. So Indian currency will appreciate, and that will have its own implications both on the financial assets as well as on our export industry. Right. So at this point, I cannot say what will happen to the currency, but all I can say is that if dollar was an asset where people were moving into, and if that currency is not stable, then people will look at alternatives, and one of the alternatives could definitely be again gold, uh, because there is no other major paper currency which can take the place of dollars. So therefore, people would evaluate gold very seriously. But frankly, I would suggest Ghazal, you should organize another webinar where
Sure.
probably Chirag can give a much better view on, Chirag and Arvind can present on currencies and gold much better.
Yes, Subbu. Another question
Chirag and